The W League reached its climax yesterday with Sydney winning the grand final over defending champion Brisbane, and we're joined by the Sky Blues coach Alan Stajic to take a look back. Alan, it was a 5-goal thriller. Welcome along.
Thanks.
I know you've been celebrating hard overnight.
Definitely.
But it was a great showpiece, wasn't it?
It was a great game. It was a good spectacle, and everyone I've spoken to enjoyed watching the game, whether they were at the ground or on TV, and I guess in the big picture that's the main thing.
Now Brisbane, before the season were the outrageous favourites to defend their title, but as the season built, did you have hope that you could just turn that around?
Yeah, well, we knew we had a good squad of players. It was just a matter of blending them together, and we only came together the week before the competition, essentially. So we always had a plan that we would get better and better as the competition went along, and luckily for us, all the plans went according to how we wanted to, and we finished the season on a real high with some good games towards the end.
And she was the player of the grand final last year, Lana Hutch, and she scored early. But what about the response in the second half? Something like, 3 goals in 10 minutes of football? Yeah,
it was. We really turned it on there for about 20 or 30 minutes. We created 5 or 6 good goal-scoring opportunities and really punished them when we were dominating the game, which is what you have to do in those games.
That's Linda O'Neill was going to see Sarah Walsh. It was a key figure, and she's just so electric when she's on form.
Yeah, she's been great the last few weeks. Her and Lena Karma are a deadly combination. They just complement each other so well. And it was a great goal here and a great celebration where she hugs the ball girl.
And you've got a couple of Danes in your squad. Julie Rydell, that was a handball and a penalty for Brisbane, or the keeper saved. But you've got Julie Rydell, the Danish international, who had her parents in the stand, and she scored a very important goal for you.
She did, yeah. That was the clincher in that period where we were on top. And, yeah, it was good for her parents. They flew out just to watch the game, so it was a special moment for her.
And it was a late goal for Brisbane, but to no avail. Sydney lifting the second season of the W League. And just looking overall, Alan, with how important it is to the Asian Cup next year. You've got the Asian Cup in May, which is qualifiers for the World Cup. So for the Aussies, the Matildas playing in a competition, for those who have played in America too, it just adds another layer of match fitness and graft, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Well, we haven't had that for a few years, and the Matildas would go through long periods of time without competitive games. So it's great for Tommy to see the players playing at that level, in terms of the current national team players and the ones who can progress through to that level. So it works a lot of different ways where it's a bonus for the national teams.
In terms of your team this year, I mean, you've obviously had a massive boost in the... obviously, you've got your Danish imports, but another person that probably should mention, if I didn't mention it, she'll probably talk to me about it next time I see her, is Heather Garriock. She didn't play last year because of the injuries. She was injured for most of the year. And Sarah Walsh as well was out injured. How much of a difference do they make this season for you?
Oh, they're crucial. Well, Heather hadn't played for 13 months, and her last full game was with us back in October last year, and she really took a fair bit of time to get back into the swing of things. She's had a run of horrendous injuries, 3 or 4 different injuries, all one after the other. And it wasn't...
So she lost it, well, she didn't play in the States because she had a contract there with the Women's Professional League as well.
Correct, yeah, and she just got injury after injury and never played a full game. So it took her a good 5 or 6 games into the season where she got back on track, and the last 4 games, it's no coincidence, as we've really hit our straps, that she's been one of the key players.
And in the semi-final as well, because we forget that you had a player sent off. I was going to say a man, but it's a girls' game. you had someone sent off early in the game, and she would have been critical in that game because the running in midfield would have been absolutely horrendous.
Absolutely. Well, Heather's probably the fittest player in the country, and she just runs for fun. And then we had Catherine Paskey as well, the Danish girl, who runs for fun as well. And by the end of that game, after playing with 10 players for 80 minutes, it looked like we had the extra player, and that's credit to the midfielders, really.
With the Queensland team, though, I mean, they have so many Matildas, what, 6 or 7 of them?
Yeah.
Surely, was there any intimidation factor all through the year with other teams sort of looking at this team going, hey, we're playing half the Matildas here?
Yeah, definitely, but we have as well. We've got a lot of Matildas and a lot of girls who will be in the Matildas this year or next year in Tommy's squad, so for our players it's not as intimidating, and there's just a great rivalry between Sydney and Brisbane, but I guess for the more inexperienced teams, yeah, probably so. Yeah.
And Alan, the foreigners, the Danes, a couple from Chinese Taipei and the Americans, how much quality have they added to the competition?
Oh, it's just fantastic. The 2 Danish girls on and off the field have been brilliant. They've blended in to the team so well. They've brought exposure for the league and for our team. So, I can't have good enough words to describe how good an impact they've had on our team and on the league, as, in the big picture of promoting our game around the world.
Alan, overall, Australian, as far as the Matildas are concerned, they were in a transitional phase. They made the semis of the last Asian Cup. How do you think they'll fare in a very tough group next year in China for the Asian Cup?
Yeah, they've got a very tough group. They're in a group with China and South Korea in particular, who South Korea have improved out of sight over the last few years, and China have always been a world superpower. So they're going to have their work cut out, and not only that, if they get through that part of the group, they've got to play Japan or North Korea, who are, you know, two of the best teams in the world. So they're going to have their work cut out, but we've got a lot of great youngsters coming through the ranks, you know, to replace some of the players who were there previously. And it's a matter for Tommy and the team to gel now. They've got a good 4 or 5 month program starting in January to get them ready for the tournament. So hopefully they'll be ready when they go to China in May.
And we see the other big leagues around the world, the United States, obviously Sweden is very, very good. How big could this W League get to in Australia? Do you think we need to encourage the players off-season, better quality of players every season to come and play in Australia?
Yeah, I think that'll evolve, and I've already heard of some teams who are getting links with some of the WPS clubs in America for trading some of their players in the off-season and having relationships where we send some of the players to their teams during their season to get some training and match practice. So these kinds of relationships can work, and it'll be a boost for both, for us and for them.